Embracing non-judgment is an important part of our journey of self-awareness, and if you genuinely practice it consistently, it'll definitely transform your life for the better. Welcome to Journey of Self-Awareness, your YouTube channel for personal growth and self-exploration. Today we're exploring the crucial importance of developing a non-judgmental attitude. We'll cover the importance of becoming non-judgmental, provide practical strategies for cultivating a non-judgmental mindset, and highlight its relevance in both spiritual traditions and our everyday lives. Understanding and overcoming our judgmental tendencies are essential for our journey of self-awareness. It involves consciously observing and accepting ourselves, others, and life's experiences without harsh criticism, preconceived notions, or labeling. By approaching ourselves and others with openness, empathy, and compassion, we liberate ourselves from the constraints of judgmental thinking. We create deeper self-awareness and foster a stronger sense of connection with others. Many people regularly engage in subtle, often unconscious kinds of comparison and judgment. For example, we might judge others using various traits such as social status, their appearance, or achievements. And then using such social markers, we might unwittingly look down on others without even realizing it. Or, conversely, we might elevate them and look up to them. Worse yet, we might turn a judgmental eye upon ourselves and perhaps even judge ourselves harshly. Such judgmental patterns and habits are deeply ingrained in social conditioning, but judging others greatly hinders our capacity for empathy, understanding, and genuine connection. Moreover, these habitual patterns can be so taken for granted and subtle that we may be completely unaware of how often we're being judgmental. Recognizing such patterns and intentionally cultivating a non-judgmental attitude is essential for overcoming the barriers that divide us and for developing compassion and humility. Working to develop non-judgment invites us to suspend our tendencies to evaluate, compare, and categorize people and situations. Instead, it encourages us to approach others and ourselves with an open heart and a willingness to look beyond appearances, stereotypes, or preconceived ideas. As I mentioned, judgments often arise from our conditioned beliefs, biases, and perceptions. But our judgments are also deeply rooted in the ego's need to categorize, compare, and create a sense of identity and superiority. When we judge others without realizing it, we unknowingly reinforce and strengthen the egoic sense of a separate self. When we judge others, we make a distinction between self and other, strengthening the feeling of separation and erecting yet another barrier to empathy, understanding, and harmony. Therefore, cultivating a non-judgmental attitude is critical, but it takes diligence, time, and effort. It's an ongoing practice that requires self-awareness, mindfulness, and a willingness to challenge our preconceptions and our judgments. As you might imagine, spiritual traditions have long recognized the importance of becoming non-judgmental on a path of seeking self-discovery and spiritual growth. For example, in Christianity, Jesus emphasized the importance of non-judgment and unconditional love in his teachings. He urged his followers to refrain from judging others and to approach them with compassion and forgiveness. Jesus taught that true righteousness comes from a heart filled with love, humility, and understanding. Buddhism also emphasizes the practice of non-judgment and compassion. The Buddha taught that judgment arises from our own attachments, aversions, and delusions. By developing mindfulness and cultivating loving kindness, practitioners can free themselves from judgment and develop a sense of empathy and understanding for all beings. Similar teachings are found in Islam, Sikhism, Confucianism, and other spiritual traditions. These teachings highlight the critical importance of treating others with kindness, avoiding judgment, and cultivating virtues such as empathy, compassion, and humility. In my blog post on the website, I go into much more detail on these teachings, so be sure to read that for more information. To cultivate a non-judgmental attitude, there are several practices that can help. Once again, the first one is mindfulness. Cultivate mindfulness by gently allowing your attention to settle on the present moment, and then calmly observe your thoughts, emotions, and judgments without evaluating them. Don't cling to them or try to push them away. And if you notice yourself being judgmental, whatever you do, don't come down on yourself for it. The truth is that you can't be rid of judgment by being judgmental. However, by developing increased awareness, you'll start to notice when judgments are arising, and you'll be able to consciously let them go and choose a different response. Remember, it takes time to become aware of our ingrained habitual patterns, but with time and diligent effort, this will start to become much easier. Another practice is self-reflection. Engage in regular self-reflection and perhaps try journaling to become aware of your own judgments and biases. Set aside time to explore your thoughts and feelings about being judgmental. Write down any judgments that arise and reflect on their underlying beliefs or assumptions. Very often we make snap judgments based on underlying values and assumptions that we've taken for granted our entire lives. So when we first start a practice of self-reflection, we'll probably only recognize our judgments after they've already happened, which is perfectly normal. But it's also why we need to spend time reflecting on our attitudes and how we've acted. Third, we have empathy and compassion. Practice putting yourself in the shoes of others and try to understand how the world might look through the lens of their experiences. We should try to cultivate empathy and compassion for others, recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings and our common humanity. Sometimes, for example, one of my coworkers will get upset when a customer says something or seems rude or critical. My advice to them is to assume that the customer is just having a tough time of it, or perhaps a really bad day, and then simply let it go. I tell them the truth is that everyone's doing the best they can given the circumstances of their lives, so try to cut people some slack and not take things so personally. Another practice is letting go of superiority. Many people have egos that want to be on top, and they desire superiority, recognition, or validation. Such people may look down on those who they perceive as inferior or as not living up to some set of standards, but we need to recognize and understand that every person is unique and everyone deserves respect and compassion. So we should try to recognize and let go of our need to compare and elevate ourselves above others. Another practice is to cultivate humility. It helps to cultivate humility and to recognize that none of us are perfect and that we all have our own struggles and challenges. Cultivating humility is an ideal that we can strive for, but it's so important because it helps us become more aware of our judgments and to change ourselves for the better over time. And as we become more and more aware, we may be surprised to discover that some of our judgments are actually based on our own deep-seated insecurities and perceived shortcomings. This is a topic for a later video, but very often as people begin to awaken, insights will arise and unconscious material will come to the surface, which is often quite surprising. The takeaway is that by practicing these strategies consistently, we can gradually develop a more non-judgmental attitude, and increasing our awareness will help us foster greater peace, acceptance, and compassion toward both ourselves and others. In conclusion, embracing non-judgment is an important part of our journey of self-awareness, and if you genuinely practice it consistently, it'll definitely transform your life for the better. It deepens our self-awareness, enhances our relationships, and cultivates a compassionate way of being with the world. By working to remove the barriers of judgmental thinking, we can awaken to the interconnected unity of all living beings and contribute to a more harmonious and compassionate world. So please, try to become more non-judgmental, nurture your authentic self, and the best way to do this is to set clear intentions and to take up a daily practice. Before I sign off, I want to remind you that the first chapter of my upcoming book is available on our website, josaonline.com. I'll put a link in the description below where you can download a free PDF file that's loaded with aspirations, prayers, and affirmations. I wrote these to help you integrate compassion, kindness, and humility into your daily life. I hope you like it. Please let me know if you have any suggestions for improving it. I haven't hired an editor yet. I'm still working on finishing the book, so I would appreciate any feedback. Also, don't forget to hit the like button, tell your friends about us, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on our next video all about establishing a daily practice. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Journey of Self-Awareness.